Breaking news moments ago, Robert F. Kennedy is out of the race, and I told you so. I'm Jim Babka with Grace Archie. Well, an instant Grace. Robert F. Kennedy ran as an independent. He dropped out of the Democratic primary process. The Democratic Party wasn't being very democratic, and he decided to run as an independent. And I took to this platform and said to you, he's quitting the race. And now he's literally quitting the race. Breaking news just moments ago, he gave a speech wherein he quit the race. Does that mean there's only two choices? Well, we'll get to that in just a moment because we have a special guest joining us in this Instant Grace installment. But I want to take a moment to talk about how hard it is to be a third-party candidate. Getting on all the state ballots, I was actually impressed what Robert Kennedy did. I didn't think he could do it. And my real basis, if I'm being honest, my real basis for why he was quitting was that I knew how hard it had been for so many other people to try to run that independent route because ballot access is really hard. It's very expensive. But he did something savvy and smart. He put a billionaire on his ticket with him, and she helped him fund in fact, they drove up the cost pretty dramatically of a ballot access campaign. And he was able to do a really good job. It was looking like he was going to close in the high 40s in terms of number of states that he was going to be on, more than I predicted. Nevertheless, he's dropped out. Nicole Shanahan, his vice president, was on earlier this week talking openly about the sabotage that had been done to their campaign by the Democratic Party. And now they've made new alliances. And that leaves people discouraged, maybe feeling that they don't have a choice or an alternative. And I want to say two things about that. I want to say, first off, my savior isn't on the ballot. So all the people who have stress and angst and worry and concern about who's going to be elected this fall, we shouldn't really be putting our trust in any man or woman to be our savior. In fact, it shouldn't matter this much, frankly. You know, when we sit here and we talk about Grace Archie, what we're talking about is the ability to sit down and have lemonade with somebody who's very different from us and to say, hey, what's your deal? Find out where they stand and why they stand there. It's a way to maybe start a conversation where we can voluntarily solve problems instead of using force. And that is more gracious, much more gracious than the politics we presently have. Then the second thing I want to say is that I had a great opportunity, just coincidentally, that the person who takes Robert F. Kennedy's place in this race is the Libertarian nominee who will be on in 48 state ballots. His name is Chase Oliver. Now, all the various entities, including the ones that have sponsored this show in the past, the entities I work for, which tend to be in the nonprofit space, can't take a position, obviously, and I'm not speaking for them. I speak for myself when I say I have been planning to vote for Chase Oliver, the Libertarian nominee, since he got nominated at the convention. And I think that it's the more gracious approach because he wants to return power to the people where they begin to solve their own social problems, as opposed to us constantly worrying and relying on politicians who never come over, who never deliver. This grace approach, the ability for us to sit down and understand each other is the better alternative. And a first step in this direction joins me right now, because he was here in town and just breaking. He's right in Grace Archie territory. Right as this news comes down, Chase Oliver, the Libertarian nominee for president. We have a chance to make some breaking news. I get to talk to Chase Oliver just as the news comes down that Robert F. Kennedy did as predicted. He has dropped out of the race. Dropped out of the race, meaning that the man standing next to me, Chase Oliver, Libertarian candidate for president, is now the third candidate in the race. What do you think about this big move by Robert Kennedy?
Well, you know, for me, it's indicative of somebody who's kind of giving it up to kind of sell out back to the two-party system. I think the voters who really wanted to see Robert Kennedy challenging the two-party system, many of them are going to be feeling let down. And I encourage them to check out the Libertarian Party. We're not going anywhere. We've been challenging the duopoly for over 50 years, and we need more and more voters to help us continue to do that. So while it's sad to see another person getting out of the race who is trying to challenge the two-party system, you know, we want to see that. To me, this is a golden opportunity for the Libertarian Party to really make waves in the 2024 election. And I'm very excited to meet so many voters who used to be Robert Kennedy voters who are now going to be Chase Oliver voters in November.
Okay, but he's wanting a cabinet position, right? I mean, that's the angle here that a lot of people believe is happening. Donald Trump came to the Libertarian Party convention, said he was going to put a Libertarian in the cabinet. Maybe it's you. Will you drop out of the race? Will you go ahead and accept the cabinet position and get out of the race too?
I wouldn't be dropping out of the race for that. Now, if someone wants to put me in their cabinet one day, I'm not going to just necessarily push that aside. But you know what I'll never do? I will never drop out of a race where donors, supporters, and voters have been looking to me to be a choice in their ballot. It's my responsibility. It's my duty to represent the Libertarian Party through November. I'm going to be doing that and beyond.
So how do you get like truly into the third position right now? What is your strategy at this moment to make sure that people are aware that there still is a choice that says no to these two candidates?
I think the most important way that we're going to break out of the two-party system is to actually be very different in the way we campaign. We have two parties, the Democrats and Republicans, who are so focused on division, on why the other person is terrible. I'm running a campaign that is focused on the vision of what can we do better tomorrow? How can we make the world more free and more prosperous? And that's what I'm focusing on. Not cults of personality, not mudslinging, but what can I do to deliver for the voter? And I think we push a powerful message like that out there as much as possible. And of course, I think I'm the first candidate for president who's traveled to all 50 states ever. Maybe, if we continue to have that kind of energy and enthusiasm, we're going to bring a lot of new voters into this process and wake a lot of people up to that the two-party system is broken. And that's what we're trying to do.
So a lot of people have not yet heard of Chase Oliver. Now that there's no other candidate challenging these two, what do you need from people? What steps should they take if they're hearing this to find out more about your campaign? And what do you need to get to that level where people are aware?
Well, first and foremost, I urge those voters to get out and check out the campaign, kick the tires, compare my platform to the platforms of the other candidates by going to votechaseoliver.com. If you like what you see, you can become a donor supporter or a volunteer out in the field, helping knock on doors and letting more voters in your community know that there's an alternative to the two-party system. Those are some great ways to help us out and to make sure that more people know that liberty is on the ballot and that you can vote for somebody who is not a part of a broken two-party system, somebody who actually wants to fix our democracy for the better.
And liberty's on the ballot where? One more time?
Liberty is on the ballot everywhere, all over the country. Everywhere where you can hear the sound of my voice, you can vote for the Libertarian in this election. We are on the ballot. We're going to be on the ballot in 48 states. There are a couple of states where we're certified right in, but luckily, Chase Oliver is not a very hard name to spell.
Thank you very much, Chase. That's Chase Oliver with the breaking news. Robert Kennedy out. There's the third candidate now. There's the alternative to the two-party system.